Welcome everyone. It is Thursday night, and you know what that means. Just a Bit Outside radio show, live on the air, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. As always, share the link, share the love, hit that share button, click the thumbs up, whatever you got to do. We appreciate it. And as always, you got Mark, you got Keisha. Keisha, how is it going?
Hey, what's going on, outsiders? What's up, Mark? I am so happy to be here today. Today is a good day. We have a special guest for you guys, and we always get excited when we have special guests on the show, and tonight is no different. It's a holiday weekend, right, Mark? It's Memorial Day weekend. You know what that means. Beach is out for summer, and snowballs will be going, and the bikinis will be showing.
I already missed the snowballs, man. Why'd you gotta rub it in?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's something that you're gonna miss down there in North Carolina. And I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the snowball stands to open up, man. The one in Hamden opened up, I think, like about a week ago.
Okay.
And last Sunday, it was a nice day last Sunday up here. And I happened to be in Hamden celebrating a friend of mine's birthday. And we walked past the snowball stand, and lo and behold, they had a nice long line. And I was like, finally. Finally, I can get me a good old a good old fashioned egg custard snowball. You know what I mean? You know, I like to treat myself at least once or twice a week to a snowball.
Yeah, and I know there's places that are open year round, and some really good places. Don't get me wrong, but you just gotta wait till the weather's nice and hot to get a snowball.
Yeah. The places that are open year round, I always wonder how they fare because, I don't know many people who have a hankering for a snowball in January.
Or just go outside and make one yourself.
Right. Right. Okay, you guys. Well, like I said, we got a guest tonight. A very good friend of mine I don't even know how long. I'll just say we used to I'm laughing already. We used to be out there kicking it back in the day as young whippersnappers, and over 20 years later, now we just regular whippersnappers.
If she caused trouble like you caused trouble, I know.
Yeah, man. My good friend, Dionne Halsey. How you doing, Dionne?
I am great. Oh my gosh, yes. Don't be telling them my age, but yes, we definitely we definitely go way back, and we definitely love to have a blast when we do what we do.
Hell yeah. I like how you put that. Do what we do.
Okay. So I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we know that, judging from what you have been doing as of late, that you are one busy individual, and we really appreciate you taking the time to chop it up with us tonight. On the basketball tip, you guys, because we both used to play basketball back in the day, and I think that was like one of our first major things that we recognized we had in common with each other when we first met.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, like I said, let's get it popping. Hey D, could you give everybody, our outsiders, and if you got anybody listening on the feed tonight, you can give us your background.
Yes, listen, I am a woman of many talents. Okay.
Yes.
But everything started with sports. I played basketball. Basketball was my first love. I played volleyball. I played softball. Always been a starter. Was the captain of my teams.
Wow.
So I was always about energy. I was kind of like that Ray Lewis type of leader. I might say a speech. I'm going to get us pumped.
Word.
Keep that energy up. But for me, honestly, look, I had the dream of playing in the WNBA, right? Yes. But life be lifing, so unfortunately, I would say, looking back, mental health and injuries, I did not go as far as I wanted to go. But by the grace of God, I am still here, and I learned this in basketball. You learn how to pivot, and that's what I did in my life. You feel me? I got into music, and I got into music through sports. Music and sports are just like a couple. They go together.
Oh my God. We say this all the time, and we talk about it very often here on the show. Absolutely agree with you.
If you know, because as an athlete, I use music to get in the zone. And now in my day-to-day life, my everyday life, I still use music to get in my zone. Yeah. But I got into songwriting, performing, and I became an artist full time, and yeah, man, I've always been a creative. So my music journey led to me hosting events, and then I got into mental health advocacy, as well as motivational speaking. And everything was going great. And then I developed a chronic illness. So once again, I had to do what? Pivot.
Right.
You know, so I had to change the entire way that I moved because I developed like severe asthma and allergies. It's a disease called Santa's triad. So that took me through a lot. But I kept on pivoting, and I realized, like, you know, I've built up an amazing network over the years between sports, music, and everything that I was doing. So I was like, you know, it's time for me to start a business, my own business. So I started a digital marketing company called 1513 Promotions. We do content creation, social media management, and all of those things. And I've been doing that for, I've had my business. I started the business in 2021. Doing good, working with small businesses, but I felt like personally something was missing. And I was missing sports. You know, I was going to all of these sporting events, and I was like, oh my gosh, I miss coaching and things of that nature. I miss playing, but I'm not going to play anymore.
Boy, them 40s hit different, I'm telling you.
So I was like, well, I'm not trying to come back at this age, but I do want to be around sports consistently.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking of ways to incorporate sports into my business. So I was like, well, I could do content creation for athletes and things of that nature. But I was like, I want to do more. But I was actually on my business page scrolling, and I ran into an ad from ASM Sports, and they were looking for a talent scout. First off, I had to make sure it wasn't a scam.
Right.
You know, so I did my research, and I was like, okay, I feel comfortable. I had a meeting with them, and I was like, this is for me, because everything that I wanted to do, per se, with my business, they were doing and more. I had the opportunity to learn all about the NIL, and that's like a daily thing you have to learn about because everything is constantly changing.
Yeah.
But learning about the college recruitment process, because it's much different than when you and I played.
Yeah, of course.
Especially because we have this huge piece when it comes to social media. So, but also the even huger piece is the NIL stuff, because now you can get paid. So learning about those things and knowing that, you know, I'm just passionate about helping people get to the next level and elevating. I'm doing that with 1513, so I was like, it's a no-brainer. I want to do that. I want to help athletes with the college recruitment process. The athletes who are just as great, but they don't have the attention, right? They're not the ESPN-ranked player.
Right.
There's still opportunities, a lot of opportunities for you. We just need to know who you are and that you exist. So, you know, that's how I got to ASM, and that's a little bit or a lot about my journey.
Yeah. No doubt. You know how we like to do here in the 410. So, where did you actually grow up?
In Baltimore, okay?
Yeah.
Raised. I left for a little bit to go to college. I went to Johnson & Wales in Miami.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But Baltimore.
Well, you know, the next question is how we like to do here in the 410. What high school did you go to?
Hey! And I love to talk about this high school. Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. Sorry for people, but you know what it is.
We have talked about the City Poly rivalry many times here on Just a Bit Outside, and we know how fire that is, you know, with you guys. But Poly definitely in the building.
DPR forever. Class 4, let's go.
That's what's up. You know, I just took a little note about you, you know, talking about the music, and, you know, when we first met, you know, you were doing the music thing and everything.
Yes.
What you said that, you know, you used to listen to music to get you pumped up, and, you know, I'm the type of person that starts off every day listening to music. I also have to pump myself up to take my ass to work every day.
Okay, get that tone.
Yes.
Set, okay.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, who are you listening to nowadays to get you in the zone, to get you locked in, to get you pumped up?
Oh, Glorilla. Man, she definitely getting me pumped.
Yeah, she is a favorite.
Shoot, listen. Ooh, where else can I go? Victoria Monet.
Love her. I love her.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For my slower music, Alex Osley. Oh my God.
Oh yes. Oh man. Yeah, she is so fire.
Yeah, she can't miss. Of course, I bump J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I bumped that old school Kanye. And if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
It's the difference. And I understand because, as people, we grow and we evolve. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I definitely be rocking my Kanye bangers.
Oh, he's still my favorite. I don't care how crazy he gets and how delusional and whatever wild thing comes flying. That's my brother for life.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. I can't lie. I do still have some current music, but classic Kanye. I mean, older Kanye music is definitely my favorite. It was just when he was in that hungry era before he made it.
Yeah.
But yeah, J. Cole, Kendrick. I still be bumping Lauryn Hill.
You got a lot of Geminis up in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, one of my favorite artists, Tupac. So you already know.
Yeah, another Gemini.
Gemini down.
Yes. Gemini season is in full effect right now. Shout out to all the Geminis, including myself. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. And you mentioned coaches. So, let's talk about your coaching experience.
Yeah, so, after I graduated from high school, actually, went off to college, and I actually experienced a major depression. Mm-hmm. So I ended up dropping out of school, coming back home, and, I had to figure things out. Mm-hmm. I think I was depressed because I stopped playing sports. Yeah. So I started going back up to Poly, and I became an assistant coach. I became an assistant coach for volleyball and basketball. And I loved it. I loved it, even though it was kind of weird because I was like, dang, I feel like I'm in like the 13th grade. Because I'm like, I just graduated.
Yeah.
But it was great to be around that energy, and it also helped me. It picked my spirits back up.
Yeah.
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 I already had the leadership skills, but to be able to pass on the knowledge and the wisdom that I have as a player to other players, man, it was a top tier experience.
Absolutely. And I know that, a lot of players, that a lot of athletes, I'll say, that played in high school and college, they all kind of struggle with that. All of us do in some form or another once you stop playing, because it's like, you've gone this big chunk of your, up until that point, this big chunk of your life, being on a schedule, and this is like year round. Always being active to go into a sense of, right, what am I going to do with myself?
Who am I?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I struggled with that myself, but I continued to take like sports classes when I was in college, and then when I came out of college, I played softball for a while, but then, like I said, them 40s, things start to hit different. You just be like, I gotta find something else to do. Okay. So,
now
that's what it is. That's what it is.
I'll go shoot some.
Hit that right on the head.
But I ain't out here playing games or nothing no more like that.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. I believe Mark have a couple of questions for you as well. So I'm gonna give the floor to Mark.
Hey, Mark, what you got for me? Let's go.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say, like, as I was, looking into your background, but also ASM Sports, I just found it absolutely amazing. Their website is a lot focused on scholarships.
Yes,
but
because it's not just about that athletic side. You gotta, you wanna show up academically and excel academically too.
Absolutely. And your role with ASM is talent scout. So I was wondering the process that an athlete, and I'm thinking about, I got some friends down in Jacksonville and other places that they have like high school student athletes currently, and one that's gone through that whole looking at college process. So on your side, what's that process like? Do you just scout them? Do you talk to the athletes? Do you hand them off to someone else to get them signed? Like, what's the process the student is looking at?
Yeah, so I contact the student athlete, and I ask them. I start off by asking them their goals, because the number one thing we want to make sure is you're serious.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't really know if you are until you know, or, sometimes we'll think like, oh, they've been playing their whole life. Of course they're serious. But sometimes athletes, like anybody else, they get burned out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, the more and more you go, the higher you elevate, and things get more and more serious, you might realize like, oh no, like, nah, this isn't for me. So the number one thing is making sure that you're serious, And I tend to gauge that by asking goals. What are your goals? I have an athlete that I just signed who, listen, she knew everything. It's like I didn't even have to tell her. But she knew the schools that she wanted to go to.
Wow.
And we always tell athletes to have a plan A and a plan B. But she named them USC, UCLA, and Baylor.
Oh, yeah.
She said that she wants to go to the WNBA. And she said, if that doesn't work out, I want to be a detective. So that said to me, exactly. You see how you felt?
Yeah.
That's to me that she has thought and put a lot of intention into not just her athletic career, but just in case this doesn't go the way that I planned, I have a backup plan.
Wow.
She had the grades to follow, so we send a questionnaire just to gauge where you are as far as your GPA, your SATs, your ACTs. And we work with athletes from the age of 14 to 20. So we start, it's never too early to start, because it's a whole new world out here now with the NIL and the transfer portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I start by getting to know the athlete, and I tell them about ASM. So ASM, we offer services that help you with the college recruitment process. Mm-hmm. And we help you at every level. So I can initially help you starting at high school, right? And then you decide, I want to play at the next level. I can still work with you as you go to college, because now we have that NIL piece.
Right.
So college is now a business. So you basically need a sports agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as high school to navigate everything.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, if you want to go pro, I'm here too. And Mark, you ask, do I do all of the work, or do I pass you along? I can pass you along, but I'm here for the whole ride, baby.
Nice.
Look,
I know that's right.
I'm reaching out to the colleges. I'm reaching out to the college coaches, telling them about you, telling them about the athlete, setting up college visits. And we do everything. At ASM, we do everything for the athletes. We help you with your highlight reels. We help you with your social media, because that's important. Social media is so important.
Yeah.
We help you with preparing to meet the coaches, so that you got to know how to do well.
Yeah, the grooming aspect,
All of those things, because there's so many things that go into the college process, recruitment process. Mm-hmm. And we're there to help with everything that we can. And for me, like I said, I don't just care about your athletic career. I care about you personally. You know, so I'm always talking to the athletes about their mental health. That's like the most important piece, right? Because they say it's nice.
Yeah.
Right. Oh shoot. Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I think we lost her. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let's take a little break and get her back on. Hold on, you guys.
Welcome back. We got Dionne back on the line. I guess just picking up where we left off.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, you know, you were talking about the athlete you recruited recently, and her number one pick was USC. And while I'm Arizona born and raised and a huge Wildcat fan, Keisha and the listeners know I worked at USC for a while, and I have some great memories there. So
wow,
I'm very happy. I'm very happy that she chose USC.
Yes,
that's super cool. Super cool.
Yes.
And you know, I kind of wanted to, Mark. I wanted to ask like a sub question to yours, just from what she was just listening to her story and all of the services that you were saying that ASM provides. You know, you made mention that you get some of these athletes at a very early age, right? As young as 14 years old. Okay, so that's like, you know, freshman, sophomore level. They have a long way to go as far as molding is concerned, right?
Yes, they do.
What do you do in situations when, you know, you have an athlete that is superb physically, but struggling academically? Like, do you guys provide any type of resources, or, you know, what do you guys do in that situation?
Yes, we definitely try to get them tutors.
Yeah.
Whatever we need to do to help support them to increase those grades, we definitely provide those services too. Because that is so important, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. We're going to do everything that we can to help you get that GPA where it needs to be, so that you can have the opportunity to go to the schools that you really want to.
Right.
That is so important. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree.
That was a great question, because, you know, we always say have SMART goals, you know, which, you know, boils down to having realistic goals based on where you are. But if there is time for you to make improvements, especially when we get you that young, we're going to help you. And if we get you later, we're still going to try to get you the help that you need academically.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. All right, Mark, you're on deck.
Well, like I said earlier, ASM's website is very heavy on the scholarships. While I was doing stuff today, I kind of thought back to a story. When I worked at USC, I had a great conversation with a gentleman where his job was helping people find scholarships. And he had told me, and mind you, this is 20 years ago, so I'm sure a lot has changed.
Right.
But he said that, you know, if there's a scholarship out there, apply for it no matter what, even if the deadline passed. He had told me stories about where the deadline is passed, but no one applied. So, like, just the person that he helped ended up getting it.
Yes.
And, but like I said, it's 20 years later, NIL is a thing now. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of scholarships are corporately funded. So I kind of wonder how NIL has impacted scholarships, whether these corporations are choosing to not fund scholarships as much and putting it more towards the NIL.
Yes. A lot of things are going towards NIL. You got the boosters, all of that stuff. You know, like, listen, I think the average amount of money for, like, the top college basketball teams that they're spending on, like, for their starting lineup is, like, I want to say, like, $5 million, maybe a little higher.
Wow.
You know? So you could be averaging 5 points a game and making millions in college, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone is putting money towards NIL. These brands, you know, it's like a collective. It's like a collective pursuit to get players to come to certain schools.
Yeah.
So they're throwing that money, that NIL money. Like, there was a college team that lost all of their players to the transfer portal because they got bigger offers at other schools. It's just a matter of the university and the power that they have to raise funds. Wow. You know, boosters used to be a bad thing back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
But now they're king.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush was like, I'm getting ready to sue the NCAA and give me all my stuff back because, like, what the hell?
Right.
They're gonna have they're gonna have to remake the movie Blue Chips just with the NIL.
Okay. Yeah. That's a great idea. But yeah, NIL is definitely a major factor, and that's why the transfer portal is so crazy. But I definitely think that they're going to regulate it more. Like, we're in the beginning of this, so it's the wild, wild west.
Right.
But I definitely think that some changes are going to come because a lot of people are complaining about just, like, the process of recruiting a player who, you know, literally at the end of the season can just go to the next school and do that throughout, you know, do that multiple times.
Yeah, Haley Van Lip. I mean, she's just NCAA home for a minute there.
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, you might see somebody go to one school, but they're going to 3-4 schools, and you like, you got history at all of these places, like.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, and we made comparison that this NIL has kind of created a free agency in the off season for college, and it's just insane how players are moving around now. And like you said, even at at the last minute, like, I mean, I was genuinely shocked when Flaugier made her announcement that she was leaving LSU. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know.
You just never know.
Yeah. You know, that NIL has definitely made things wild.
But look what Olivia Miles did with. Everybody thought she was going to enter the draft, and she transferred to TCU.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but you know, listen. Essentially, it was mandatory, like a necessity for women to stay in college longer because that's where their bread and butter was when it came to money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even the men are starting to stay in college longer because, you know,
you got a better shot, you know, of making money, you know, earlier. I can definitely dig it. And more money.
Yes! Depending on your stock because, there might be uncertainty with where you're going to get drafted in the NBA draft. So
correct.
Yeah.
Crazy, totally crazy. Since we were talking about professional sports, let's go ahead and let's talk about these basketball leagues, WNBA as well as the NBA. Mark, you know, last week we talked about the WNBA kicking off and everything. We're all very excited about what's to come with these second-year players and some of these rookies. And now here we are. We've had like about a week of basketball. Pretty much all the teams have played at least 3 games. And, you know, we like to keep it 410 DMV here at Just a Bit Outside. So we talk a lot about the Mystics. I mean, we talked about the drafting process, the picks, and all the way leading up to the first week. And, you know, I made mention at the beginning of the season, the start of the season, that, you know, last year there was much left to be desired with the Mystics because they did not have such a great season. 14. I think it was like 14 wins or something like that, which is really dreary if you're a Mystics fan. But we did get excited with the pickups of Kiki and Citron, and now here we are. You know, so excited to see how, you know, what the cohesiveness would be like. And lo and behold, the Mystics are jamming right now. I mean, I like I said, I know it's only 3 games in, but you know, they're in second place in their conference, and at 2-1, they've had some pretty impressive wins. I was out there for the home opener in the first game of the season when they played the Atlanta Dream. Yeah.
That was a good game.
Yes, it was. It was an excellent game, and the opening odds for that, I mean, the Atlanta Dream was 7.5-point favorites.
Wow.
And, it, you know, they had a lot of additions. And, you know, Mark, we talked about BG joining the squad.
Yep.
And, you know, it was a battle the whole entire time. Like you said, it was a very good game. And, you know, I was absolutely ecstatic that the Mystics were able to pull that one out. And then they follow it up with a win against the Connecticut Sun, which is, Mark, you know, from last year, you know, they were a very good team all the way up through the playoffs. And, you know, they took that first L against the Valkyrie. I believe it was either last night or the night before last, but that game was close too.
Right.
Yeah, 2 points, right. Like, they legit were a half a step from a 3-0 start. And D, how impressed have you been with the Mystics this week?
Well, you know, I always say this about the Mystics. I expected this because I feel like they always give themselves a chance to compete because of their defense.
Yeah.
They always play hard on defense. Like, even last season, with all of the trials and tribulations, they pushed New York. I think they were like 1 game out of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But New York ended up winning the title. But when Washington played them, you know, it's always a competitive game. So I'm like, I'm proud of them. I am proud to see these rookies coming in. You know, I was so sad that Georgia ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, because that would have been nice. That would have been sweet. Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
But thank God for having 3 picks in the top 10. So, you know, next running up. And I just, Sonya and Kiki are doing the damn thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Sonya is averaging 14.7 points. That's excellent. I mean, Kiki is averaging 13.7 points, 10 rebounds. I mean, Shorty is coming into exactly. You know, I said that, you know, Kiki would be one of the keys to the Mystics' success this season, and it's already bearing fruit, man. And, you know, we got to talk about the ones that's kind of been there already. You know, how about Brittany Sykes? I mean, she's averaging, she is balling right now.
Yeah, this is her year, and I knew it would be.
Is that how you feel?
You know, I knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
When it comes to Sykes, but I think playing in Unrivaled and winning that championship, really
boosted the confidence. Yes, absolutely.
It's transferring right into the WNBA season, and she's like, okay, this is my team. This is what they brought me to DC for, and I'm healthy. Because last year it was a matter of her health.
Injuries. Injuries tore her ass up. Yes.
So now she has the confidence in her mind, body, and her soul, and she is balling out.
Yeah, that was a good. I'm glad you brought up the Unrivaled League because that is a great point. Right now she's averaging 26.3 points per game, number 5 in the league.
Yes,
okay.
She dropped 30 last night.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Yes, I mean, just doing the damn thing, and like you said, I mean, just riddled with injuries last year, and and the Mystics in general, they dealt with so many injuries last year, which contributed to, their performance. But I'm just so happy that she has come on with this hot start, and I'm hoping that she can just continue this throughout the season, man. Because I mean, they are starting to look like one of those teams that you can't underestimate.
Yep, everybody was sleeping on them, and listen. I'm also excited to see once she gets on the floor, Aaliyah Edwards.
Oh, yes.
And back to Unrivaled.
Yes.
The season that she had in Unrivaled boosted her confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like, you only had one full WNBA season, and in the off-season, you went to work, man.
Right.
You went to work, so I'm excited to see her, and I just hope that we have a good year health-wise. I like our depth. I like Emily. I like
Oh yeah.
But I like our players. We got a nice little group. It's like dogs, hard workers.
Yeah. Another one of those hard workers. Sutton.
Yes.
I was really impressed with her play. Yeah, man. I mean, we got a blue collar scrappy team.
Yes, we do.
I love it.
I think Washington might have the Rookie of the Year on their team.
Listen, I love it. You heard it here first. Yeah. You heard it here first on Just a Bit Outside. We calling out ROIs already.
Listen.
Yo. And which one do you think it will be?
I'm leaning towards Sonya.
Okay.
But it could be Kiki.
Mm-hmm.
It could be either or, but the favorite is Paige Buckers. But I think that Washington they might just stun everybody, and the Rookie of the Year.
They continue to win. They can definitely do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what's up. Now let's switch gears to the NBA Finals.
Hey,
we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hello,
Keisha.
Yeah.
Real quick on the Mystics. I just want to mention this.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, go. I'm sorry, my bad.
Go ahead. The professor, dropped some comments like usual. He likes how they're looking, but he says, and I want to get your opinion, like where you think, this person is. He says, I don't know where Shakira Austin fits in.
Ooh, that's a good one. It just depends on if she stays healthy. But we can definitely see that. I mean, with this Kiki coming in, and I think that's the main reason why Kiki had to come in, because we just don't know if she's going to be available. I'm not saying Shakira play well everywhere outside of the W, but for whatever reason during the W season she either gets hurt. I'm like, she's dominant overseas. She played pretty decent in Unrivaled, but the actual season, I don't know what happens.
Okay, so it's. She's averaging about 9 minutes a game. I also agree, like, I'm not sure that anybody realized that Kiki would be playing as well as she is. I mean, because she's absolutely, tearing it up. Right,
yes,
tearing it up. So and it's hard to spread the love around when you have a rookie that is hungry and performing well. You want to continue to develop that player, right? Yeah. And I have to, I gotta agree with Professor. I don't know where she fits in, to be honest with you. And
that rotation.
Yeah, and it's kind of a tough break for her, but that's just the nature of the game. Yeah. And then, like you said, I mean, we still have other pieces that we are waiting to come back, man. And, it's just really hard to get everybody in when you have so many, playing well already. That's just one of the things that come with success.
Yeah, that was a great point.
Yeah. Yeah, great
question. Yeah.
Thanks, Harry. We always appreciate you, brother. All right, so you guys ready to switch gears to the NBA?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Like I said, we are in the conference finals.
Yes.
This year, Mark, we laughed about this, but holy smokes. We have some unusual suspects.
Yep.
Hey, listen.
We have some unusual suspects. The Eastern Conference, they are some unusual suspects for the 2000s, but it is eerily reminiscent of the 90s, which I love. And all three of us, this is some glory years for us. This is glory years, son, especially in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, I just want to talk a little bit about the Eastern Conference Finals. We had that first game go down yesterday. Exciting game, went all the way to overtime. And we had a little bit of choke action. With Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers dominating in overtime and taking that first victory away from the New York Knicks. I have to tip my hat off to both of these squads because they overcame a lot of odds to get to this position. Nobody, and I'm going to say this until there's the absolute champion. There's nobody that at the beginning of the season that said, oh yeah, Pacers Knicks finals. There's nobody out there. I mean, what were we doing? We were kissing the ass of Boston and Cleveland. You know what, Mark? I think we might have to name Cleveland the Booty Huff pick of the year because they were just so fucking disappointing. But and even with some of the other teams, even Milwaukee. I mean, these two teams made it to the playoffs, but they were not, unless you were a diehard homer. They just really weren't in discussions, and now here we are. D, I wanted to get your thoughts on, the Eastern Conference Finals and which team do you think will emerge as the winner?
Yes. So first off, let me say I did not think that Boston was going to repeat.
Yeah.
And I was dreaming of and wishing and hoping for Knicks versus Pacers just because I wanted that 90s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Listen, New York got close last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that they're there. I did not trust Cleveland. It's just something about Cleveland. I don't know, maybe Donovan Mitchell team, possibly. If I think about the Utah experiences. Sorry, Donovan, but I did not trust Cleveland. But, man, listen, the Pacers, they are just never out. The fact, I ended up falling asleep on the game, but I remember saying, it was 50 seconds left, and I was like, the Pacers get ready to come back and force overtime.
Yeah. They've been doing it the whole playoffs.
I've never seen, this amount of clutch with, a minute left. It's like when Duke beat Maryland that time with, a few seconds left, and they just went on a barrage and hit all these threes. And we lost, and I was so devastated. That's what it's been like watching people play the Pacers. You think and no read is safe with the Pacers, okay?
Yeah.
Because of the pace of play, and then man, listen, it was
Tyrese Halliburton, man.
Tyrese Halliburton.
I'm about to say, it seemed like ever since there was that discussion, it was like they poked the bear. Or something. They definitely poked the bear or ignited something inside of him because, that one game where he hit the game winner against Cleveland, where he dribbled his ass all the way out to the 3-point line and knocked that joint down And I mean, that was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. But for this to happen again, right? I am like, yo, bump what anybody says. Y'all better not ever disrespect this dude, ever again. And honestly, I am ready to say Tyrese Halliburton is the most clutch player in the playoffs right now.
From from most underrated to most clutch, and sometimes you need that chip on your shoulder, and it's definitely that
motivation. Yeah,
it's like your peers voted this for you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all how underrated I am.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I was shocked to see. I fell asleep on the game too, but when I woke up this morning
and you saw
how he took that thing to overtime, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." And I know Tibbs is like, I know he was at a loss for words.
Yeah, you literally do, you literally kind of do everything right, considering the fact that Jalen had like 5 fouls and the team went up.
Yeah.
With him sitting on the bench. And then he comes back in and it all falls down like on some Kanye.
Yeah. I love a Kanye reference. Okay. But my man was definitely invoking the spirit of Reggie Miller, man, and it's just been great to see. And like I said, I mean, it takes us back to the 90s. I mean, these two teams used to battle. I will never forget. Because I used to be a big Knicks fan back in the day. Okay, I was a huge Knicks fan. John Starks, Chris Childs, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, Allen Houston, Sprewell, and there were so many times that I was freaking pissed off. I will never forget the game where Reggie Miller dropped like 9 points in like so many seconds, and him and Spike Lee were going back and forth. Yes, on the sidelines, man. Yes. And and it's like now it's like we're back at that all over again, man. History has a funny thing of bringing itself back around and repeating. So this has just been really refreshing. Like I said, from the most, in my opinion, unlikely Eastern Conference matchup. But who do you think is gonna come out victorious?
The Pacers. I'm gonna go with the Pacers. And it's like, dang, I wanted to be the Knicks.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted to be the Knicks.
The way that the Pacers are playing now, I'm going to give them the edge. I think it's their time finally. For all the times that Reggie didn't get.
How about it? Okay, now that's an interesting point. Let me ask you, Mark, who do you have coming out of this series?
I gotta agree. I'm going Pacers on this.
I am too. Holy shit! I know he probably upset a lot. Okay, look, I am a thing about, we talk about this very often, Mark. Mark will tell you, a team of destiny, and like I said, that game winner against Cleveland, that was one thing. But when I saw that crap last night, I was like, the basketball gods are on the side of the Pacers. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, New York has got their work cut out for them if they're going to take this thing away. I mean, just them taking that first game and in the fashion that they did, it's huge. I mean, they are going to be salivating for game number 2, and man, and I think the physicality will definitely step up in game 2 because, I know some people are in their feelings because Pacers snatched that game from them. Snatched that game from them. So, agree.
I will say this, though, and we can't forget this about the Knicks. They are capable of erasing huge leads, too. Because we saw against Boston how they
we did.
Back. So they were just on the other side of it. So I think it's going to be a great series.
Second game series?
Oh, yeah. They might go 7. They might.
I heard.
I love that.
I heard someone describe last night's game as the best game one. That was a game 7. It just had that energy, and I think they're gonna get that all 7 games.
Oh, if you're a basketball fan, right? Get your popcorn ready, right? Let's talk about that Western Conference. We got the game going down tonight. against the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of you may know, but in case you did not, the NBA MVP has been announced, and it is Shy Gilly SGA finally gets it. And, there are a lot of people out there. Well, no, I'm not going to say a lot, but there are some folks out there that feel like Djokovic is robbed. But
nobody got enough.
Yeah. I mean, Jokic. I think the NBA got it right this time.
Yeah.
And Mark, you think they got it right?
Yeah, definitely. Do they ever get it wrong?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Definitely, absolutely, well deserved, and I'm just so happy for him. And he is definitely one of those young players that has planted the flag, and part of that changing of the guard process, right? And and tonight we get to see two very young, bright stars with great futures and Hall of Fame careers ahead of them. And we're gonna start off with Mark this time. Mark, how you feeling about this first series? And who's going to emerge victorious?
I'm feeling good about this series. I think this one probably going to go 6 or 7. We're not going to get any sweeps. And it's kind of funny because even though OKC had the best record in the league, I feel like they had some stumbles in the season that they didn't look as strong as they could. But they've erased that in the playoffs. I think OKC is gonna find themselves in the finals.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, and to me that first game was very telling. Yeah. We had two teams that had two totally different outcomes in the previous rounds, right? We had Minnesota stomping the dog crap in a five game series, whereas the Oklahoma City Thunder pushed their series to 7 games. So I was actually expecting to see some fatigue from the Thunder, and the first half of that game, Minnesota was in the driver's seat, right, for most of the first half, and things were going great, and I'd actually put money on the Wolves to win, right? So I'm like, okay, this thing is looking pretty good. And I don't know what the hell happened in that locker room at halftime, but I mean, the one thing that they have consistently done throughout these playoffs is found a way to dig deep. Okay, and to me, that is just so uncharacteristic for the age of this squad. I mean, these guys are young guns. It's not like they're seasoned vets. And, a lot of times, some of the younger players don't handle adversity as well as they should. But this particular squad, man, they are mature. They have heart, and they are just absolutely fearless. And I just do not see how the Minnesota Timberwolves can take this series away from them. What do you think, Dionne? Oh, man. Yeah.
We lose her again?
Yeah, Dionne, we were just talking about the Western Conference Finals, and wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yes. Okay, I'm back. I really love Anthony Edwards. Oh my gosh, he reminds me of, he be giving me the Michael Jordan vibes, he just gonna get it, that young face of the league, that new energy. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. I love his energy. But OKC, man, listen. When it comes to team and in the depth, I think OKC has the advantage. Just it's good to see them healthy.
Yeah.
Because they definitely went through some major injuries. But what I really love about OKC is their journey to now. To have the franchise, move from Seattle, start off with Russell, KD, James Harden.
Yes.
Right?
I love that squad. I was so mad at them.
Yes, right?
Oh, my God.
He leaves, and then eventually Russell leaves. And then, it's the rebuild. And it's kind of back to what Halliburton said about the Pacers organization. You kept the young players together. So many teams, train people quickly or make major changes. But, OKC kept their young core together. And now it's like, look at them now.
Yeah. I mean, before you cut out, I had made a comment that it was like, it's uncharacteristic of how poised this young group is, man. And they just find a way to dig deep and continue to be successful, man. It's just so wild to see, for being one of the youngest teams in the NBA. It's just wild.
Exactly.
Really wild.
Exactly. But they've been together, so... Yeah. Which is important, like that chemistry, being able to develop that chemistry. Because we saw when LeBron went down to Miami, and they could have won that first year, but they needed a little bit more time to build that chemistry, right? Right. And then they came back and did it in year 2. But the chemistry is important. Continuity is important when it comes to building a winning franchise or program. So I'm happy for OKC, and I give them the advantage. I want to give it to Minnesota just because, Anthony, I just love him. But I think OKC just has the overall team and the depth. Yeah. And I don't see Minnesota being able to overcome that.
Yeah.
For a series,
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement, you guys. We're all in agreement on the Eastern Conference, and we're all in agreement for the Western Conference. I kind of love that.
So we're OKC Pacers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Doesn't that sound like some fire to me? I don't know. Yeah. Yes. But every time we have a guest, we like to end our interview with and this is my favorite part, our Just a Bit Outside Fave 5, where we give our guest a category and they give us their favorite 5 on the subject. So, we talked about a lot of basketball tonight, so we're going to keep it on the hardwood for the Fave 5. Dionne, what are your 5 favorite female basketball players? I can't wait to hear this. This is good.
Ooh. Can a Houston Comets Big 3 be like one choice? What about Tina, Cheryl, and Cynthia? Man, the team, because they won the first 4 WNBA championships. Mm-hmm. So that was just like...
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, thank you. All right, so that's great. That makes everything else easier. Lisa Leslie.
Oh, of course.
Candace Parker.
Yes.
I got to give it to Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
And Juju. I'm going to give it to Juju for the young.
And you know what? Let me just tell you, that is a respectable Fave 5 because you gave some love to the new school. And, I feel like, when we do these categories, I think you're actually the first person to and Mark, I think you'll agree with me. She's like the first person to give love to the new school.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get every generation.
I love it, and that lets me know that lets everybody know you're a real basketball fan for real fan. Love that. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dionne. Before we cut out, Mark, do you have anything that you want to put out there before we sign off for the night?
I was thinking about it just a little bit ago. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about Pacers Knicks. And I might as well just throw it out there. This week, WWE announced for their 2K25 DLC download Tyrese Halliburton will be a playable character in WWE 2K25. I'm not sure when the download happened.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what's even crazier is that this year's SummerSlam is in New York. 2-night event.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking, if Tyrese, especially if he wins the title, but, we know the Tyrese.
Oh, my.
We know the Tyrese Brunson rivalry. Like, I seriously doubt their clubs would let them get physical, but we could see some interaction at SummerSlam between those two.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. That would be so dope. That's what's up. Well, like I said, Dionne, thank you so much for taking the time to chop it up with us tonight. Yo, we had so much fun talking basketball with you. And, I sincerely hope that you will come back from time to time throughout the WNBA season to chop it up with us on that tip, because I'm always, I have a hard time finding somebody as knowledgeable as you to come on the show. So, I'm pretty sure Mark feels the same way. We sincerely hope that you come back, and the door is always open for you.
Listen, I would love to come back, and let me just tell you guys this. I got some floor seats next week to see the Indiana Fever versus the Mystics in Baltimore. So,
nice.
I would definitely love to come back.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, say less, because we might have you back on to talk about that experience, man.
Yeah.
Man, I am so mad because I had season tickets to the Orioles, so I'll be across the way. But I really wanted to go to that game, so I would love to hear about your experience. And, we definitely will have to do that. Definitely will have to do that.
I'll be there for you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, you guys, you know how we end this show. Baltimore spread love, yo. It's a holiday weekend. It's going to be a lot of partying, a lot of drinking. Be careful when you get behind that wheel to drive. I am Keisha, and on the other end of the line, as always, is my favorite slice of pizza, Mark, and we are just a bit outside. Peace, peace.